Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today we're not talking about teraflops or mid-gen refreshes. We're going to be talking about the blood in the water at Microsoft, specifically at Xbox. We're talking about the rise and fall of Sarah Bond. And most importantly, we're talking about the Sarah Bond Defense Force. Those YouTubers and influencers who have just come out of nowhere to defend her, who've never stepped foot in a Redmond office, and yet think that they know more than the people who actually sat in the meetings and worked with her side by side. You see, last Friday, the Xbox brand as we knew it was dismantled. Phil Spencer, the man who spent a decade trying to convince us that he was one of us, announced his retirement. Go check out that video, by the way, the rise and fall of Phil Spencer. But the real shockwave was the departure of Sarah Bond. For months, the industry experts told us that she was the natural successor. She was the deputy. She was the hero of Activision's trial. And then, in a messy, leaked Friday afternoon dump, she was gone. Not promoted, not moved to a different department, gone. And in her place, Asha Sharma, an executive from Meta and Instacart whose resume screams AI monetization and data mining. Now, if you go on Twitter or X.com, as we all know it now, or look at certain defense channels right now, including my boy Chris Heath that just sent me his defense of her because that's his black queen, you're going to hear a very specific narrative. They're calling Sarah Bond a scapegoat. Yeah, go check out RGT85's video. He's pretty much on her side as well. They're saying that Satya Nadella and Amy Hood set her up to fail. They're claiming that because Microsoft was already headed towards multi-platform, that this is an Xbox everywhere strategy. You can't blame Sarah for just following orders. They want you to believe that she's a martyr for a corporate blunder that she didn't create. And look, on spreadsheet levels, they kind of have a point, right? Satya Nadella wants return of investment on a $70 billion purchase. He doesn't care about the plastic box under your TV. But here is the middle ground, the truth. Being a scapegoat and being a bad leader are not mutually exclusive. You can be used by the corporate machine and still be the person who alienated your entire staff. Both of those things can be true at the same time. Now, I choose to believe the people who witnessed it. I choose to believe the more than a dozen current and former Microsoft employees who have spoken up to Tom Warren at The Verge. These aren't people that were speculating or sitting at their computer just doing a video like I'm doing from a bedroom in the UK or a studio in Los Angeles. These are people who saw the writing on the wall more than a year ago. These are the people who worked hand in hand with her. And what are they saying? They aren't saying that she was a martyr. They're saying that they are relieved she is gone. Think about that word, relieved. You don't feel relief when a great leader gets unfairly ousted. You feel relief when a toxic culture is finally being lanced like a boil. The reports are clear. Sarah Bond built a team structure where if you didn't follow the vision or if you dared to question the strategy, you were out. Look at the names. Kareem Chowdhury, the man who basically built the backward compatibility engine that gave Xbox its soul, left just months after working with her when she took over. Jarrett West, the chief marketing officer, walked out in June. When the veterans, the people who actually built the brand, start jumping ship, it's not because of corporate restructuring. It's because the person at the top has made the environment uninhabitable. The Sarah Bond Defense Force wants to pretend that She was just a messenger. But let's look at the messages that she delivered. The entire "This is an Xbox" campaign, that wasn't a mandate from Satya Nadella or Phil Spencer's office. That was her strategy. That was her attempt to pivot the brand away from gamers who grew up when games were games and towards a mobile first, cloud first audience that doesn't actually exist. And yes, Xbox may have tinkered with Play Anywhere, but they certainly weren't getting rid of their exclusives. The Verge reports that this campaign offended internal employees. Now think about that. The people making the games felt insulted by the marketing for those games. It told the developers, and the fans, by the way, that the hardware they spent years optimizing for, that's irrelevant. And then there's the mobile store. In May of 2024, Sarah Bond stood on the stage at the Bloomberg Technology Summit and promised a web-based Xbox mobile store by July. And guess what? It's 2026. Where is it? It's not just delayed, it's vaporware under her leadership. The biggest promises made to the board and the fans, they just simply evaporated. Meanwhile, hardware revenue, that's been tanking for 3 straight financial years. Now, you cannot blame the direction of the company for a president's failure to execute her own specific pillars. But the Defense Force will tell you, oh, she was just a junior leader, taking the heat for Phil's mistakes. Was she, though? When Phil Spencer stepped back to focus on the Activision integration, Sarah Bond became the face of the brand. She wasn't a puppet. She was the architect of the everywhere pivot. She doubled down on the idea that an Xbox is a phone, a tablet, and a TV app. She chased tomorrow's customers so aggressively that she completely neglected the today customers. And now, today's customers, the 13 or so people who watched my last video, and the millions who stopped buying Series X consoles are the ones who have to deal with the fallout. By the way, I'm buying Fallout 4 for the Switch 2 today. Again. Let's talk about the replacement, though. Asha Sharma. If you think that the Defense Force is quiet now, wait until they see what an AI first CEO looks like. Sharma is already out here trying to be calm. She's trying to be cool for the community. She says she has no tolerance for bad AI. She says she wants to return to the renegade spirit of Xbox. Now, to me, that's corporate word salad. You don't hire a Meta exclusive and the corporate head of Microsoft's AI division to find the renegade spirit of Xbox. You hire them to turn the division into a lean, data-driven machine that stops the bleeding that the hardware have caused. The most edge part of this entire story is how the departure was handled. See, Friday afternoon, a leaked report from IGN, chaos inside the building. Sarah Bond's own social media team didn't even know she was gone. They were literally posting LinkedIn invites for accessibility feedback while her termination memo was being drafted. That isn't a thoughtful, deliberate plan, as Phil Spencer called it in his goodbye email. This is a purge. Microsoft was so desperate to get her out and get the new era started that they couldn't even wait for a clean Monday morning announcement. Some people want to make this about gender or DEI or corporate politics. I'm making it about results. If you run a gaming brand and you offend your employees and you fail to ship your flagship mobile store that you promised and oversee a 3-year collapse in hardware revenue, you don't get to be the hero. You don't get to be the natural successor. What you do get is shown the door. The YouTubers defending her aren't doing it because they have inside information. They're ignoring the employees that worked with her. They're doing it because it's the safe, middle of the road take that doesn't upset the corporate access that they crave. But I don't care about that access yet. I don't need it for this channel. See, we're not monetized. I'm just saying it how it is. I care about the people who were in the trenches. I care about the dozens of people, the dozens of sources who saw the management style, saw the intolerance for criticism, and saw the brand that they loved being turned into a generic service. The rise and fall of Sarah Bond is a cautionary tale. It's what happens when you try to replace a gaming culture with a vision culture, a corporate hierarchy. See, she tried to tell us that this is an Xbox and that is an Xbox, while pointing at a smartphone or even a refrigerator. And the market, well, they responded by saying nothing is an Xbox. So now we're in Asha Sharma's era. We're in the era where the CEO, the gamer tag, it's just her name spelled backward. Because she had to make one 3 weeks ago to look authentic. We're in the era where the future of play is defined by a former Instacart COO. Sarah Bond might be the scapegoat for the timing of the failure, but make no mistake, she was the architect of the strategy that failed her and the brand. The people who were actually there, the ones who saw the veterans leave when she was handling them, the ones who felt the relief this Friday, they are the ones that I believe. They are the ones that we should be listening to. Not the defense force, not these YouTubers, not the speculators, and certainly not corporate memos. The Xbox lost its soul under this leadership. And yeah, that includes Papa Phil. I didn't pay him any slack, if you will. I've got a whole video on the rise and fall of Phil Spencer. Go check that out. But now they're bringing an AI CEO to try and simulate a new one, a new type of leadership. Listen, guys, as always, here at Starflagmedia, we are done with the gaslighting. If you want to know the truth about why your favorite brand is in a tailspin, you're in the right place. Subscribe if you're tired to have to defend these people, or if you're tired of the defense force and you want news from someone who actually listens to the people in the trenches. I'll see you in the next one, and maybe this time we'll get more than 13 views, because unlike Microsoft, I actually care about the people who have been there since day one. Please leave a comment below, like, share, and subscribe. We're trying to get to 5,000 subscribers by the end of 2026. Thank you guys for joining me, and we will catch you in the next one. Peace.